بيسألنا شو الأخبار. تابعونا كل نهار أربعاء الساعة 3 لنتناقش ونحاول نسلط الضوء على أهم المواضيع اللي بخصنا كلنا بتجرد وموضوعية. برنامج شو الأخبار مع حسين هاشم كل نهار أربعاء الساعة 3 على راديو سينا 102.3 FM. تابعونا لتعرفوا شو الأخبار.
موقع قريب من السماء وجنة على الأرض، مطرح بتلتقى خيوط الشمس مع أمواج البحر الصافي. عم بتفكر بعطلة مع عائلتك تروق راسك فيها بعيد عن ضغط الشغل والهم؟ ما إلك إلا تزورنا بكريستال ساندز بيتش ريزورت. نظافة وخفافة، خدمة ولا أروع، هدفها راحتك واستجمامك، وإطلالة أقل ما بينقال عنها خلابة. يلا شو ناطرين؟ اتصلوا واحجزوا. ناطرين كريستال ساند بيتش ريزورت 1238 نورث هيرون رود، توا سيتي ميشيغان 989-867-317. حابب تشتري بيت وعم بتدور على مين يساعدك؟ كنت عامل بانكربسي أو عندك لو كريدت سكور؟ جاي على البلد جديد أو دخلك محدود؟ لا تفكر ولا تحتار، لك المشكلة وإلها حل، خصوصا مع خبير القروض العقارية علي دهيني. خبرة ودقة ومصداقية، وبالنهاية ما بتلاقي إلا قرضك معك ومفتاح بيتك بجيبتك. Top Mortgage Company, you dream it, we achieve it. 313-247-4844 or 243-841-4000.
تحياتنا لكم مستمعينا من 102.3 FM ومتابعينا ومشاهدينا من واتساب ميديا نتورك على الفيسبوك بلقاء متجدد وحلقة جديدة من برنامج واتساب شو الأخبار توك شو. معي أنا حسين هاشم، واليوم ضيفنا رح يكون المحامي حميد دكروب ضيف البرنامج الدائم، والحديث عن التراست اليوم والعديد من النقاط اللي بتخص الستيت بلانينج والبروبيت. فموضوع كتير مهم. رح نفتح الخطوط هلا لحتى تشاركونا بعد شوي من ديترويت على 313-769-6666 ومن ونزل على 519-256-1023. واكيد مثل العادي فيكم ترجوا سؤالاتكم والكومنتس تبعكم على الفيسبوك، ونتمنى منكم كمان تعملوا شير للفيديو على الفيسبوك كمان لحتى نوصل لاكبر عدد ممكن من العالم. ببداية الحلقة وقبل ما نبلش مثل العادي كمان بنحب نتشكر السبونسرز تبع واتساب ميديا نتورك اللي هن راعيين الرسميين لنا. كريستال ساندز بيتش ريزورت موجودين بتوس السيتي، المحامي حميد دكروب ستيت بلانينج اند بروبيت اتورني، ابلايد مودرن هاوس دكتور مو هزيمي عندهم فرعين بليفورنيا وبديربون هايتس، اسواق البلد ايفري فريش ماركت موجودين على اناربر تريل بديربون هايتس، وتوب مورجج كومباني فور أليكس دهيني رقم التليفون عندهم 313-247-4844. ورح يكون هو ضيفنا كمان الجمعة الجاية نهار الأربعاء لنتحدث كمان أكثر عن المورججز واللونز وكيف فيكم تحصلوا على اللون. إذا عندكم أولاد وحابين تسجلوهم برنامج سمر بروجرام بإديوكير ستودنت سيرفيسز، عم بيعطوا سمر بروجرام ابتداء من جولاي 1. فيكن التسجيل مفتوح حاليا للأولاد من عمر من البري كي للجريد 12. في برامج كتير مختلفة متعددة من ريدنج لرايتنج لترفيه وارتس اند كرافتس وبيكينج وهيك شغلات. برنامج كتير مهم بيفتحوا من الماندي من الاثنين للجمعة خلال فصل الصيف، من الاثنين للجمعة من 9 الصبح ل5. ورقم التليفون عندهم لتتواصلوا معهم هو 313-566-3733 313-566-3733. هيدا السمر بروجرام عند Educare Student Services. كمان الكونسلمان ديف عبد الله اليوم عنده الكيك اوف كامبين تبعه رح تكون ببلاجي بانكويت على الساعة 5:30. كمان بيحب يدعم الكونسلمان ديف عبد الله اللي هو كونسلمان بديربون هايتس. بست اوف لك. بنحب نذكركم انه البرامج تبعنا حصريا تعرض على واتساب ميديا نتورك، كانوا على الفيسبوك او على الويب سايت تبعنا اللي هو whatsappmedianetwork.com او صفحاتنا الموجوده على السوشيال ميديا ان كانوا تويتر ولا يوتيوب ولا انستغرام. نتمنى منكم على طول تتابعونا. في برنامج جديد رح يبلش نكست ويك مع خضر فرحات اسمه صوتك بهمنا Your Voice Does Matter. رح يكون كل نهار 3 من الساعه 7 للساعه 8 كمان حصريا على واتساب ميديا نتورك. هل لو واحد بيحب يتواصل معنا، هل لو واحد عنده فكرة، عنده شغلة أو موضوع بيحب يطرحه، أو إذا بتحبوا إنه تكونوا سبونسر تو أدفرتايز معنا كمان، رقم التليفون هو 313-258-6799. رقم التليفون عم بيمرق على الشاشة اللي عم يحضرونا على الفيسبوك فينا يشوفوا 313-258-6799. 6799. أما هلا فينا نبلش موضوعنا.
Alright.
حميد أهلا وسهلا فيك.
أهلا فيكم. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure having you.
Always a great time.
بتحب تقول لهم شيء قبل ما نبلش بموضوعنا
Well,
حميد؟
thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. And of course, everything that Hussein said, I agree with.
حبيبي حميد شو موضوعنا اليوم؟
So today we're going to be talking about a trust and why you should have one. And
Okay.
what the reasons for it all, and does it apply to you?
تمام.
And so we can go into a little bit of a detailed discussion involving a trust. Now, of course, we can start with what is a trust, right?
أكيد this is
A
what we
trust,
wanna do.
exactly. So a trust مثل الوصية. It acts as an entity where you can actually transfer assets to this trust during your lifetime.
تمام.
And if it's a revocable trust, the ones that we're going to be talking about today, you have full control of it during your lifetime. And what happens is you can buy, sell, do whatever you want. If you have any amlek, they'll go inside your trust. La samahallah, something does happen to you, then it gets passed according to what you say, like you would in a wasiyah. Say you want to go to my spouse, want to go to my children. That's how it ends up getting distributed. So a trust acts like that, but it's stronger than a will because there's a lot more to it than what a will has, and there's a lot more advantages
تمام.
as well too. So
هيدا بشكل سريع يعني
Yes.
عن تراست. حميد عم تحكي انه تراست هو اكثر امانا للعالم، والحلو انه بالتراست فيك تغير فيه انت ما بدك.
yes,
هلا قلت انت انه ريفوكابل تراست، هل
Yes.
ترى في انواع ثانيه من التراست؟
sure, there's many different types of trust.
اوكي
There's
هذول
re-
رح نتحدث عنهم اليوم.
Yes, of
هذه
course,
نقطة
of
من
course,
النقط
definitely.
تبعنا. طيب كبداية تراست يو نيد ات.
Yes.
هلا كبيسك العالم اللي عم تعمل وصية اتس فاين،
Uh-huh.
بس اذا بدك تأمن حالك اكثر
Yes.
بدك تعمل تراست.
Yes, because people don't know. With just a wasiyah by itself, and I know we've mentioned this before in previous shows, but it's
أكيد.
very important to
أكيد نحب
continue to
نذكرهم.
discuss it. It's
إيه،
very
لا.
important. With a wasiyah alone, your family is not going to avoid court. Meaning this. If la samahallah, you had amlek in your name alone, individually.
تمام.
You had in a bank account said Hussein Hashim, and la samahallah, something happens to Hussein Hashim.
انت بدك تقتلني
Allah,
إن شاء
la,
الله.
la, never, no way. La samahallah, something happens to Hussein Hashim, right?
إيه.
Then your family has to go to, if you had just a wasiyah, even if you said my wife is going to get everything,
إيه.
even if you said that, she has to still go to court in order to inherit the assets.
تمام.
So how do you avoid that? One of the ways to avoid it is a trust.
هلا شو الفرق بالوراق اللي بدك اياهم كوصيه لتعمل وصيه بس، والوراق اللي بدك اياهم لتعمل بس لتعمل التراست؟ هل يا ترى في
No
more
difference.
papers؟
The only thing is I would just need copies of the deeds to any properties you own. So deeds للبيت if you own it. And if you don't have it with you, I'll pull it online.
اوكي اذا عم تعمل وصيه بس as a will شو بدنا؟
Well, you just need the basic information, date,
مثل شو؟
names,
لأنه
dates
ولا
of
مرة أنا سألك
birth.
عنها
Yeah, of
هودي.
course.
مثل شو
Great
يعني؟
question.
خلينا نقول لهم.
Names, date of birth, who you want to receive your assets. مين بدك تحط يكون مسؤول على أولادك إذا أولادك تحت ال 18 سنة.
هودي كلهم بال
Yes, هو بالوصية.
اوكي
Also, a description of any properties you own if you want to give them to somebody,
تمام.
and description of specific assets you want to give to certain people.
very good.
Yeah. So it's not that it's so much is required of you, but
Okay.
certain details are required. And the person who's going to وزع the amlek, because people forget that you have to actually nominate somebody to وزع
You
the
have to
amlek.
assign someone.
Exactly. This person is not going to be the person who's inheriting, but he could be the same person that's inheriting, right? You can have an oldest child,
مزبوط.
be the person who's going to وزع the amlek to himself or herself and the other siblings, for example, right?
حلو.
You could do that. You just have to nominate that person. And if that person isn't available, you nominate a backup. So I always tell my clients, at least have me couple of names. 2 is good, minimum.
هلا usually people who مين بيحطوا انه يكون responsible؟
Typically, their surviving spouse, right? So let's just say it'll be like, let's just say if you're married, it'll be usually people will put their wife or their husband on there.
مزبوط.
And if not, then an eldest child, or if the children are under 18, typically they would put somebody who is a family member that they trust, or a good friend who they trust. It really varies depending on the circumstance. Some people may not have a lot of family members here,
مزبوط.
so they have more friends. Some people are closer to friends than they are with family. It really depends on
شو
the
هن فيني
circumstance.
يحددوا مين
Yes.
بدهم الشخص يكون المسؤول والشخص اللي هو انه بيوزع لا سمح الله اذا صار لهم شيء؟
Exactly. However, to
Right.
touch on your point, and you bring this up, it's a great point. If they don't do a wasiyah, what happens? The state of Michigan in the courts بيقولوا مين رح يوزع الأملاك. The state of Michigan in the courts رح يقولوا مين رح يقبض المصريات, for example.
okay.
The state of Michigan in the courts are going to tell you مين رح يكون مسؤول على أولادك كمان. So it's a combination of, do you want to risk that?
Okay.
Do you have a child, for example, that maybe you gave them a gift during their lifetime to help them,
مزبوط.
But last time something happens to you, you said no, you're not going to give them anything. In a wasiya or in a trust, you can disinherit them, for example. Not because they did something bad, but because maybe you gave them their amlek during their lifetime, for example, right?
Okay.
You see that often a lot. Or maybe you have a child that, you know, might not be that responsible, or you want them to maybe get a degree before they get, you know, the amlek. Or
يعني
maybe...
فيك تحدد انت شروط
Yes.
شروط you can put as انه شروط لهم انه ما فيهم يتصرفوا بالوصية او ياخذوا شيء بالوصية unless هن they met some requirements.
And that you can have that only in a trust and not a will. Now you can say in a will that they can get it and how much they're going to get, but you can't hold restrictions, because what happens is you have to distribute the assets after the probate process in a will. There's no protection. Versus a trust, the trust you have the flexibility, and I think we're touching on the one of the topics as well too. Exactly. And we can even start talking about it as well too.
قبل ما نفوت بالموضوع بنذكرهم بأرقام التليفونات وبالعرض تبع المحامي حميد دكروب اللي هو بس خصيصا برنامجنا، اللي هو انه اذا الحقيقة لو واحد بدق على البرنامج اليوم او بمنشن الراديو شو لما بدقوا عند المحامي حميد دكروب بيطلع لكم فري كونسلتيشن، بيطلع لكم على القضيه تبعكم وبيعطيكم استشاره مجانيه، وكمان بيطلع لكم $100 اوف على اي سيرفيس بدكم اياها من عند المحامي حميد دكروب. سو بيطلع لكم فري كونسلتيشن و$100 اوف. كل اللي بدك تعملوه بدك تدقوا على رقم التليفون اليوم وتسالونا حيلا سؤال بتحبوه عن موضوعنا اللي هو الوصيه والارث من ديترويت. رقم التليفون هو 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر كندا رقم التليفون هو 519-256-1023. وكمان عم يحضرونا على الفيسبوك، فيكم تتركوا سؤالاتكم، وعندنا سؤال فيسبوك هلا بناخده كمان. تحية لكم كلكم عم تحضرونا على الفيسبوك اكيد. اوكي شو بيقولوا عندي brain fart هلا صارت؟
I don't know, my direct line did you want to say?
direct line هو بده يقول رقم التليفون. رقم التليفون عند thank you.
You're welcome.
بتصير اوقات.
No, don't worry, it's okay.
رقم التليفون عند محامي حميد دكروب هو 313-401-4488 313-401-4488. وانت feel free to mention it يعني سرقة. انت
thank you.
you are almost the co-host.
No, I don't know. No, you're the host. You're the professional.
حبيبي حميد في سؤال عم يسألوك what if we don't trust anyone, what can we do?
Yeah, so you can always have, that's a great question, and people actually ask me that quite often. So you can always nominate somebody like an attorney or a corporate fiduciary. So like a bank, for example, right? You can nominate a bank, or you can nominate an attorney, or you can nominate a tax advisor as well too. Yeah, they can.
شو السؤال اللي سألونا if we don't trust anyone، فيكم إذا ما بتثقوا بحدا لحتى تسموه إنه هو يوزع الأملاك، فيكم تسموا المحامي تبعكم أو البنك. عم بتقول حميد أو شيء. طيب حميد خلينا نفوت هلا. عملنا شوية انترو عن التراست. هل يا ترى قلنا نحن who needs a trust ولا لا؟
Well,
who needs it in general?
So great question. So in general, if you don't have one, you probably need one.
Okay.
So that's the clearest, most general answer I can give you. Now, typically speaking, if you want to have your family avoid court upon your passing, and if you want them to avoid court upon your incapacity. So which means if last time something happens to you and you get in an accident, you can't make your own decision, you would need an estate plan, right? So a trust and certain powers of attorney are part of this whole process, because we forget about that. So if you want to protect your family from having to go to court to make decisions on your behalf during your lifetime and after you pass away, and to inherit your assets, because they have to go to court if you own assets individually, then you need a trust. If you have minor children under 18 years old, لأنه الأولاد صغار ما فيهم يقبضوا مصريات أكثر من $5,000. لأنه if they do, what happens is
فيهم يقبضوا up to $5,000 بس.
Yes, without having to go to court.
تمام.
Then what happens is a guardian and a conservator need to be appointed through the court to manage the money for the child. And then once, if the individual, let's just say the child needs a bedroom set or anything like that, right? They have to get the court's permission. كل مرة بس لما بدهم يستعملوا كل مرة, and then the court is going to appoint somebody called a guardian ad litem. And I know this because I get appointed by the court all the time for these types of cases. Is a guardian ad litem. That person goes out, does the investigation to see if that kid needs a bedroom set. Right, and if he does, he says okay, and then that person bills the court and then takes the money from the child's inheritance. If you want all that to be protected and you don't have to go through the whole court process and pay those extra fees and headache involved, just do a trust.
Wow.
So you have the minor children.
Very simple, yeah.
Very simple.
It's not like rock and roll.
No, it's very simple. Now there's more to it when we get to the initial consultation, but the concept is simple. It's just more about the thing is about estate planning is. The challenge with it is nobody feels like they need it until it's too late. And that's normal. That's okay. It's not like you're in a like a creditor situation where you're getting harassed and then you look outside and somebody may have taken your car because of a payment or anything like that wasn't made, and then you have to file maybe bankruptcy emergency or something like that quickly.
Okay.
No, estate planning, people are like, you know what? I'll wait a week, or I'll wait 2 weeks, or next time, or when I get this, or when I deal with this. Problem is last time something happens during that time, then you and your family are going to regret saying, oh, let me just wait. And then you'll pay more money in the future because of all the things that you should have done that you didn't do. So if you have minor children, that's one of them. If you have adult children, that you want to make sure that you protect them from their own spouses or in case of a divorce. Now, what if last something happens to one of your children and while they're inheriting the money and they go through a divorce? Technically, if they deposit that money in their account, that money is free game. So the spouse can say, hey, listen, they just received an inheritance of so-and-so. They have this bank account. They just deposited in this account. Hey, this could be part of marital property. And so they might make an argument saying that, hey, we want this money as well too. Versus if you had a trust, if the child is going through this divorce or getting sued or going through a difficult time, the trustee, the person that can hold off on giving the distributions until the child finishes with the entire process. But so with the whole situation, then what happens after that point is you can go ahead and make the distribution. So that way you're protecting the assets. So whether it's children under 18, children over 18, people who have special needs, right? So if you have a child who's disabled and is receiving government benefits, if they inherit money over a certain amount, they will disqualify and lose their government benefits. A special needs trust will help them keep their government benefits while also allowing them to take an inheritance even if it's a lot of money.
خليني فوت فيهم هودي
Yes.
هودي لانه it's a very important
Please.
لانه بدنا نتحدث نحن عن انواع التراست الموجودين وبدنا نفوت
Sure.
بكل نوع ونشرح عن الديتيلز تبعه
Definitely.
شوي. بس خلينا نذكرهم بارقام التليفونات. حيلا واحد عم يسمعنا او عم يحضرنا في شريكنا بموضوعنا اليوم. اذا عندكم حيلا سؤال بالنسبه لهذا الموضوع اللي نحن طارحينه اللي هو التراست، different kinds of trust الموجودين، الفلكسبيليتي تبع التراست والديفرنس بين الويل والتراست اللي هنتحدث كمان عنه بنهايه البرنامج. رقم التليفون من ديترويت هو 313 769 6666 313 769 6666 ومن وينزر كندا رقم التليفون هو 519-256-1023. بنحب نذكركم انه في عرض من المحامي حميد دكروب. حيلا واحد بيدق على البرنامج وبيذكر اسم الراديو بيطلع له free consultation $100 off any service. رقم التليفون الدايركت عند المحامي حميد دكروب هو 313-401-4488 اكيد فيكم كمان تتواصلوا معنا على الصفحه تبعنا وتبعتوا لنا سؤالاتكم على طول. تبعتوا لنا سؤالاتكم نوصلوا نحن لضيوفنا. كانوا فيكم تبعتوهم على الانبوكس او على المسج او فيكم تتركوا كومنت اذا عم تحضرونا لايف على فيسبوك او على انستغرام. فتحياتنا لكم جميعا. حميد، اذا فينا نبلش نشرح الانواع المختلفه من التراست. شو هن الانواع المختلفه وكل واحد شو الديفرنس بين الواحد والواحد ولا شو هو specialized because how they probably are specialized for certain stuff, right?
Exactly. So typically what happens is you have one trust, and then within the trust, let's say it's a revocable trust, you have sub-trusts that are built within.
Yeah.
So you have a revocable trust, and then with your revocable trust, you have a marital trust, you have a trust for your minor children, you have a special needs trust if in case your child is a special needs individual.
Sure.
You have spendthrift trust provisions, meaning that you want to protect your beneficiary from his or her creditors. So that way the beneficiary can't say, hey, listen, there's, $15,000 sitting in this trust account for me, and somebody is suing the beneficiary, and they're like, oh, they have $15,000 sitting in that trust, we want that money. No, you're not going to get that money.
Okay.
So we build in those things inside your trust to try to make it to protect the children and the beneficiaries as much as possible as well. And so there's marital trust as well too. Marital trusts help within your own trusts about tax advantages. Now, the estate tax now is $11.2 million.
Okay.
So many people will not have to fall into the estate tax and deal with the issues of estate tax at this point. And it's for married couples, it's 22.8 million, so 11.4 times 2. So the estate tax. So let's say if you have assets worth over $11.4 million, the government's going to take a huge chunk out of it. Anything more than that. So now that a lot of people, they don't have those assets, it's not for most people. So it's not. So estate tax planning is not as important as it once was, but income tax is, right? So, and income tax planning is very important because when your child inherits the assets, for example, whether it's real estate or anything like that, they don't want to inherit with the basis that you bought the property of 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They want to inherit what the value of the property is at the time of your passing. So if they sell it for more, they're not paying a huge tax. So we incorporate all these provisions into our trusts and into our estate planning documents to try to cover the client as best that we can.
حميد عندك سؤال من فيسبوك عم يسألوك the trusts are done through a lawyer?
Typically, yes.
Typically, yes.
And I wouldn't go online and try to Google a trust. I wouldn't even go online and try to Google a will either because you don't know what kind of documents.
So
oh yeah, especially a trust for sure. There's trusts. I mean, they're way more beneficial than wills, and they're more. I guess they're more intense than a will, but they have way more benefits as well too. And that's why when most people come to me, they say, Hameed, بدي أعمل وصية. 90% of the people, well, I would say, like, let's just say 80 to 90% of people who come to me first, they say, Hameed, I want to do a will. And I say, okay, well, do you know the difference between a will and a trust? And then they say no. And then at that point, then I explain the difference. And they're like, okay, I don't want to do a will. And why do people do wills to begin with? Now, wills are a little cheaper, but you pay more money in the long run with a will. Because people don't know that when you have a will, let's say it is cheaper than a trust for sure, right? But it's not that much cheaper to a point in the future. So if last time something happens to you and you pass away, your family has to go to court to inherit the assets. Not only do you have to hire a lawyer to go to court because you're not going to know which mahkamah to go to, what floor to go to, what documents you have to file or anything like that, right? So you're not going to know. So you're going to have to hire a lawyer. Lawyers charge a couple $1,000s, if not more, minimum on average, if not more than a few $1,000s to administer the entire process because it's a lengthy process in probate court, right? They have to deal with your creditors, they have to deal with the courts, they have to deal with all special notices, they have to deal with back and forth filing documents, and in addition to paying the lawyer the money, so now you pay the couple $1,000s to the lawyer, so now you're already more than what you would have paid if you had a trust, a few $1,000s. So you're already paying more in the long run. That's coming out of the same inheritance that you would have given to your children had they have a trust. So it's still coming out the same way, it's just coming out at a different time, right? And then the court, بالprobate court, they will take a percentage of the assets that you own for themselves. It's called an inventory fee. Because they can. and they do it. So it's not like you're taking your house and you're storing it at the court as an inventory, or you're taking your money and you're giving it to the court and you're saying, hey, court, hold it for me as an inventory fee. No, the court they have a rule where they take a percentage of the assets you own upon your passing. It's just something standard. So not only are you paying the lawyer, but you're paying the court for the inventory fee, and then you're paying the court to file the petition. You have to file documents within the court in order to administer it. So you're paying all these things. You should have done the trust to begin with and saved yourself some money, time, and headache. And publicity. What does that mean? People don't realize that when you go through the court, everything becomes public. So your phone numbers become public, your addresses become public. So my clients sometimes they tell me, Hameed, we're receiving calls from people who want, the house, or they're asking us if we have a house. If my dad had a house, for example, could we sell it to them? Who are these people and why do they have my number? It's because it's public information now. Versus a trust is private. Nobody needs to know about it. It's private, it's flexible. You get to put in all the provisions you want. You get to customize it the way that you want, and it's cheaper in the long run than the short run.
So حكيت حميد أنت عن ال minor children, عن ال adult, عن disabled, special needs, marital trust. أتذكر أنا مرة حكينا إنه إذا واحد ما عنده أملاك كتير يمكن عنده بس بيت.
Yes, very good. Very good observation.
مش ضروري يعمل trust في يعمل lady bird.
Correct. You and I just did a video on this just recently about this. So a lady bird deed is very, very, very important, and it's extremely common, especially with certain. You have to fit a certain profile, and it works great. If you don't, then it's not going to work as great. First, your house has to be your only or main asset. So, and what you're doing with a lady bird deed is you're saying, right now, let's just say you own property in your name. If last time something happens to you, your family has to go to court. If you owned it individually, go to court in order to inherit it. There's no other way around it. You can't sell it. No title company will take it without telling you you have to go to court and get letters of authority. There's just no way around it. unless you have somebody else on the property. Well, I'll get to that in a few minutes. Now, a ladybird deed says this: I'm transferring it from myself to myself for life. So what you're doing is it's a special type of deed. I call it like a deed on steroids almost, because it's not a regular deed. It's like a very high intense type of deed. You have this deed, and what it does, very specialized, and not many people know about it, and not many people do it for clients. It's a liability type of deed, but it's very good. Why? Because you keep control of your house during your lifetime. If you want to sell it tomorrow, you can, but upon your passing, it avoids court, and then your children or whoever you want to receive it will receive it outright.
Okay.
Now, what that means is, instead of you maybe, for example, putting your brother on a deed with you, right, or your son on the deed with you, or your daughter on the deed with you, and God forbid they get in an accident or they get a divorce or somebody is suing them, then the house might be lost to them, because that's what we do to avoid court. We put, in our community, a lot of us, what we like to do is we like to put people on the deeds to the properties, multiple people. Oh, something happens to me, okay, khalas, my son will control it. You do that on the bank account. Something happens to me, okay, my daughter's on the bank account. Well, what happens if, number one, your daughter gets sued? If, number two, your son gets a divorce? Number three, somebody is coming after them for a creditor for any shape or form. All of a sudden they say, no, well, that's not the bank account is not mine, it's my dad's, but, but you're a joint owner on the account, so yes, it is yours, and your dad might lose his bank account because of something that you did. So there's ways that we have to fix it. We don't want to just like put sticky glue on it, and we want to.
حتى بالjoint ownership فيك تعمل شغلات إنه حتى تقلل to reduce the impact of someone is going through something.
So what a ladybird deed does is it says it keeps the house in your name.
Right.
So that way you have full control. But upon your passing, it goes to your kids. Versus you putting your kids on the deed and something happens to them during their lifetime, and let's just say they go overseas or something happens and they're not here, they can't even sign off on the deed. You need their permission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you need their permission. And what people do, and now Kelly actually brought this up to me as well too today. She asked me, she goes, if you have a deed and you have a name on the deed, and you transfer it, but you don't record it, does it still count? Yes, it does, actually.
Oh, well.
Yes, it does. And it's still considered a change in ownership. You don't have to, but now the creditors, when it affects creditors, that's where you'd have to record it. So, for example, Michigan is a race notice state, which means that, if, for example, creditors don't see that there's a recorded interest and they record their interest, they beat you to the punch, for example. So, but for purposes of transferring it, if you just give somebody a deed, you sign your name and everything like that, you transfer it over to them, they don't record it, it's technically theirs. So what we do is sometimes we have these deeds, we don't record them and we're transferring them, and then we think it's still ours. But no, if somebody finds out that you have that deed out there, there's a cloud in title, number one, so you might have to have that person sign off on it, or number two, that person technically owns the property. If they own the property, then and you want it back, it's not yours.
أكيد بدنا نوجه تحية لكل اللي عم يحضرونا على الفيسبوك، على واتساب ميديا نتورك، وكمان على الانستغرام على واتساب ميديا نتورك. عندك سؤال حميد من انستغرام، بيقولوا لك what if there is still a loan on the house? How can you put someone else on the deed?
That's okay. It's still fine. It's typically fine. Even if you have a mortgage on the house, you can still do a ladybird deed, because what you're doing is you're quit claiming it, right? So you're quit claiming it to yourself for consideration of like $1.
Very good.
And so it's not going to affect that. You can call the mortgage company and then they'll typically be fine.
So
it's not an issue.
Okay, very good. He got your answer.
Yeah, you're good to go. Don't worry.
لو واحد عم يسمعنا, anyone that's listening to us, بحب يتواصل مع المحامي حميد دكروب, عنده offer اليوم اللي هو بيطلع لكم free consultation و $100 off any service موجودة عندهم بالمكتب. المحامي حميد دكروب, دكروب لا. رقم التليفون عند دكروب جروب هو 313-401-4488. رقم التليفون هو 313-401-4488. نحن رح ناخد بريك كتير قصير, يمكن هلا عنا اتصال ولا ناخد بريك؟ شو بدكم تعملوا؟ قبل ما نقرر شو بدنا نعمل, بدي اذكركم انه فيكم تحضرونا كمان على الفيسبوك مباشرة على واتساب ميديا نتورك, على صفحتنا على الفيسبوك. فيكم تتركوا الكومنت وفيكم تتركوا سؤالاتكم هونيك. كمان ما تنسوش تعملوا شير على فيسبوك لللايف ستريم لحتى نوصل لاكبر عدد ممكن من العالم. معنا اتصال على الهواء, تفضلوا. مين معنا؟
الو, معك علي.
يا اهلا وسهلا علي حبيبي, تفضل. معك المحامي حميد دكروب. اذا
عندك
سؤال.
الله يخليك, بس عندي سؤال صغير. الله يخليك. ايش انواع الاقتراض بتكون؟ يعني انا عندي بيتين وحابب يكون يعني ان حصل شيء بدين يروحوا لابني مثلا.
اوكي.
وانا بكون برات البلد كثير، معظماتي برات البلد.
So we could do.
جاوب بالعربي عشان اسالك بالعربي اذا فيك.
فينا نعمل وكالة and فينا نعمل trust كمان. So that way he can act on your behalf إذا أنت مش هون and فينا نعمل trust. So إذا لا سمح الله صار لك شيء بتروح لابنك أو بتروح اللي بدك إياه تروح لعنده and he can actually be protected from his own creditors as if you have an independent trustee. So what we can do is your situation, let me just give you my phone number, تلفن لي عليه, so that way I can meet with you. It's a free consultation and so that way I can understand your situation better and I can tell you what we can do for you.
شو رقم التليفون إذا فينا تذكرنا فيه حميد؟
It's 313-401-4488. 313-401-4488.
ثانك يو على اتصالك. اكيد فيكم تتواصلوا مع المحامي. اهلا وسهلا حبيبي. وذكروا لحميد انه نحن دقينا من الراديو عشان يطلع لكم فري كونسلتيشن $100 اوف. خلينا نستفيد من هذا الوقت، ناخذ بريك كثير قصير. بعد البريك رح نتحدث عن الفلكسبيليتي تبع التراست وشو الديفرنس بين الويل والتراست اللي هي الوصيه او الوصيه الموثقه. بريك قصير كثير وبنرجع لكم بواتساب شو الاخبار.
موقع قريب من السماء وجنة على الأرض، مطرح بتلتقى خيوط الشمس مع أمواج البحر الصافي. عم بتفكر بعطلة مع عيلتك تروق راسك فيها بعيد عن ضغط الشغل والهم؟ ما إلك إلا تزورنا بكريستال ساندز بيتش ريزورت. نظافة وهفافة، خدمة ولا أروع، هدفها راحتك واستجمامك، وإطلالة أقل ما بينقال عنها خلابة. يلا شو ناطرين؟ اتصلوا واحجزوا، ناطرينكن. كريستال ساند بيتش ريزورت 1238 نورث هيرون رود، تاوا سيتي ميشيغان 989 8767-317. حابب تشتري بيت وعم بتدور على مين يساعدك؟ كنت عامل بانكربسي أو عندك لو كريدت سكور؟ جاي على البلد جديد أو دخلك محدود؟ لا تفكر ولا تحتار، لك المشكلة وإلها حل، خصوصا مع خبير القروض العقارية علي دهيني. خبرة ودقة ومصداقية، وبالنهاية ما بتلاقي إلا قرضك معك ومفتاح بيتك بجيبتك. Top Mortgage Company, you dream it, we achieve it. 313-247-4844 or 243-841-4000. شغفك الخبر والعين اللي بتشوف فيها هالدنيا عدست كاميرتك، لما بترسم البسمة بإيد الإبداع وبتشارك الفرحة مع جاليتك لأبعد مدى، لما بتصير مصدر ثقة ومتابعينك بيصيروا بالآلاف. ما فيك إلا تقول إنك أخيراً وصلت لهدفك، بس هدفنا بيتخطى حدود السما. شو الأخبار ويب تي في بقى كبيرة ومتنوعة من البرامج الحوارية الثقافية والترفيهية، تقارير خاصة وتغطية مباشرة. نحن هدفنا أنتو وأنتو هدفكم المصداقية ونحن قدها. لإعلاناتكم معنا الاتصال على 313-258-6799.
وبنرجع لكم ببرنامجنا اليوم بواتساب شو الأخبار اللي بيجيكم من واتساب ميديا نتورك. بنتمنى منكم تتابعونا على صفحاتنا على السوشيال ميديا واتساب ميديا نتورك. كمان فيكم تتواصلوا معنا على الويب سايت اللي هو whatsappmedianetwork.com، وعلى الاستديو كمان فيكم تتواصلوا معنا اليوم بهالحلقة المباشرة على 313-769-6666. معنا اتصال، تفضلوا. مين معنا؟
الو مرحبا.
يا أهلا وسهلا. مين معنا؟
علي.
أهلا وسهلا فيك علي. تفضل علي، معك المحامي حميد دكروب.
أهلا علي.
الله يخليك. أهلا أستاذ. بس سؤال إذا ما تصير زحمة. أنا عندي عقار على البيت يعني مورجج. فيعني لا سمح الله إذا صار شيء، تعرف هاي الدنيا ما بيها ضمان.
أكيد.
ومثلا يعني هو العقار باسمي، يعني هو اوتوماتيكيا يروح لزوجتي أو يعني لازم أعمل تراست فاند؟ شنو
Great question.
سؤال مهم كتير، رح يجاوبك عليه.
Great question. Depending on how much your house is worth. Now, the first 150,000, which is adjusted for inflation, so I think it's like the first 220,000 or something like that, around that number. I have to look it up online. Goes directly to your spouse right away. And then the remaining assets, depending on if you have kids from this marriage or you have kids from another marriage, 3/4 go to your spouse and 25% go to your kids equally. Now, the problem is, Ali, is your family, your wife, your kids, everyone has to go to court to inherit that assets, and it's going to be, they're going to have to pay more money, and it's going to be a headache, right?
Long process.
It's going to be a long process. If your house, for example, in your situation, is your only or main asset, right, and you mainly have just a bank account, but just really a house is all you're concerned with, we might be able to do a ladybird deed for you, which means this. You can say that upon your passing, it goes to your wife, Or you can put the house in your name and your wife's name. So if one of you, la samahallah, gets sued, they can't, by one creditor, they cannot touch the house if both of your names are on it. Michigan law gives the highest protection for husband and wife jointly owned real estate. Now, this is only for husband and wife. This isn't for you and your brother or you and your friend. Just for husband and wife, and it's real estate, okay? And then if you want, upon both of your passing, it goes to your kids, for example. So that way it avoids probate court. That's an option. But, obviously I want to sit down with you and go over that option and go over your situation and then put you into a plan that works for you. Because everybody is different, Ali. Some people need a ladybird deed. Some people need a trust. Some people, need both. And so it really depends. So if you'd like, just take down my number. I'd love to sit with you.
What's your number,
313 401
Okay.
4488.
4488.
Yep, 313-401-4488. Give me a call and we'll definitely set something up.
علي وكمان اذا قل له بس قل له انه سمعتك على الراديو بيطلع لك فري كونسلتيشن، سو فيك تجي لعنده بيشوف الحاله تبعك شو هي وبيعطيك الاستشاره مجانيه، واذا بتقرر انه انت تمشي معه بيطلع لك $100 اوف على اي سيرفيس بدك اياه.
Yes, thanks حسين.
يا اهلا وسهلا. عنا اتصال ثاني كمان عشان ما نطرنش على الهواء. تفضل مين معنا؟
معك هلا نصر الله من dearborn.
يا اهلا وسهلا. هلا معك المحامي على الهواء، تفضلي.
اهلا. في عندي سؤال لو سمحت.
انا
هون ما في عندي عيله ولا قرايب، انا لحالي، انا وجوزي واولادي.
اوكي.
يعني in case something happens me and my husband and we don't have any relative or any, so what about my kids? Can I put well so they can send them to my country or they bring somebody from my country to care of my kids?
Well, if you name somebody from a different country, then that's fine, but how are they going to get notified of it? You know what I mean? So لازم تبعتي لهم, لازم they have to get notification that something happened to you for them to fly over, to act on behalf of your kids.
أصدقاء أو هيك ممكن يخلصوا لهم خبر أكيد.
Yes, then that should be fine.
Is that easy to get visa to come here to take care of kids?
Yeah, now you're mixing a little bit of estate planning and immigration, and but I'm sure that
ما في شيء مضمون أكيد إنه
of course
ما في شيء مضمون إنه هذه الإميجريشن ساعتها هن بيقرروا
exactly
ولا لا.
Whether they can come here, but of course you can have their names in there. That's not an issue. You can also have a name. I think we talked about this earlier of a lawyer. He can be the trustee, for example. You can, or the personal representative. You can have a company do it as well too. You can nominate a guardianship agency, for example. Now, I obviously recommend that you nominate, friends or family or people you know. Now, if you don't, then obviously we'd sit down, you and I can tell you your other options.
Okay.
All right. So, Hala, if you want, like I said, my number is 313. 401-4488. You're welcome to give me a call.
سيفته عنده.
All right.
401-4488.
You got it, Hala. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you.
يا أهلا وسهلا. يا أهلا وسهلا. ثانك يو على كل اللي عم يتصلوا. أكيد هذه معلومات مهمة عم بيقدمها المحامي حميد دكروب اللي هو مختص بهيدي الشغلة. في كتير محامية بيعملوا أكثر من شغلة. يا حميد, he's an expert in state planning and probate.
Yes,
مظبوط.
Trying to be an expert.
Okay, you are.
You're learning every day.
All what you do, فاهمين كيف? And anyone that you ask دغري هلا مين حميد دكروب.
Thank you, Hussein.
So it's good to يعني focus on one thing and learn all of the ins and outs about it لحتى إنه تكون ملم بكل الشغلات اللي خاصة بهذا الموضوع، ما تضيع حالك بأكثر من topic.
Exactly.
هلا في واحد سؤاله حلو عجبني على الانستغرام مهضوم، بس بعتقد there is some truth to it كمان لأنه خصوصا if you are a Muslim.
Sure.
عم بيقول لك what if we got 4 wives? Can you have all 4 and the deed of the house? سؤال أخي بتصير.
That's an interesting question. Michigan law does not recognize more than one spouse for marriage, so you cannot have them as your wives on the same deed. But if you wanna,
في حالات بالجالية
of course.
أكثر من مرة.
Yeah, of course. Now
المرة الثانية بتضمن حقها. هلا مثل ما بتحكي مزبوط لأنه بالله عنا بأمريكا ممنوع تتجوز أكثر من واحدة.
Exactly.
بس اللي مجوز أكثر من واحدة كيف المرة الثانية فيها تضمن حقها بالعقارات وبالوصية وبهيك شغلات.
Well, that's going to be a fight in court and family law court.
والله.
Yeah. So that'll be a nice little family law court situation. situation. So that's more of like a divorce. When they get a divorce, something happens, things like that. Now, if she passes away, I mean, she can show that she was married to him, but is it going to be a valid marriage? And that would be an issue. Is it a valid marriage? Was he married to more than one person before? Did she know about this type of thing?
حالات مثل هيك قبل بمرة ولا بعد؟
Not to this extent. 4 wives on one day.
طب هي 2 wives خيي مش 4 wives. هلا هيدا أخذها للإكس عظمتها 4 wives تقولي أنت 2 wives خيي فيتو عنده.
I mean, like I said, Islamic law doesn't necessarily meet with Michigan law. So if you want a wasiyah that protects both of them, we have to sit down and kind of
Islamic law
we can, but it has to also match with Michigan law. If Islamic law violates Michigan law, it's not going to stand.
يعني always Michigan law stands.
Michigan, yeah, of course. Always in here, of course. Michigan law stands in here.
هذه المجوز الثاني يعني كيف تضمن حقها يعني؟ هل يا ترى ما تتجوزش واحد مجوز يعني؟
I mean, she can make an argument that she's married to him, that she has the right. She can make an argument in family law. It's more of a family law.
Yeah.
Because what happens is usually is when they get a divorce, typically then the issues of valid marriages and things like that come up, and who's going to get what, how can they get it, things like that. But you know, if yeah, no, it's a complicated situation. It's not easy to just I can't just give you an answer because it's not so common here in Michigan.
Yeah.
To I mean, I know it's in our community, it's a little bit more common than other communities, but when it goes to court and fights and things like that, it's not as common. So things might sway differently depending on how the circumstances change. I can't give a clear answer, but I can tell you
بس
that
هيك النقطة قلت نقطة كتير مهمة أنت ولازم العالم يفهموها النقطة إنه بميشيغان أو بأمريكا law of Michigan أو law of the state اللي أنت فيها هو بيحكم مش law تبع Islamic law أو church law or whatever law it is.
So like for example, a lot of people now are going to go to Hajj soon, right? And inshallah Allah yataqabbal and everything like that, and bisallu bisalam birja'u bisalam. But the thing is they might go to an Islamic religious leader and to say, hey, can you do a wasiyah for me? Well, not hey, they don't call him hey, but you know, hey, you know, they say, you know, could you do a wasiyah for me, right? The thing is does that match with Michigan law, and is that going to work? So versus I can incorporate Islamic law and Michigan law together, so that way we can try to.
So في يجوا لعندك على المكتب حتى
I do this a lot for Islamic law as well.
بدهم هن يعملوا الشغلات اللي لازم يعملوها قبل ما يروحوا على الحج أنت فيك تعملها.
Sure.
و you can make sure إنه هيدي الشغلات كمان مطابقة للقانون تبع ميشيغان كمان لحتى ما يفوتوا بمشاكل. بدنا نذكركم موضوعنا كتير مهم، موضوعنا كتير شيق وعطول يعني مع حميد الوقت بيمرق بسرعة. اوريدي الساعة صارت يعني 3:46. ما بنحسب الوقت معك حميد. رقم التليفون من الاستوديو هو 313-769-6666 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر كمان رقم التليفون هو 519-256-1023. او اذا بتحبوش يعني بتحبوا تدق لحميد دغري على المكتب فيكم تعملوا هيك، لانه في كثير عالم بيحبوا يكون عندهم برايفسي، ما بيحبوا يدقوا على الهواء ويحكوا. رقم التليفون عند المحامي حميد دكروب هو 313-401-4488 واكيد كمان فيكم تتركوا سؤالاتكم على الفيسبوك بيج تبعنا اللي هي واتساب ميديا نتورك. بس بتكتبوا واتساب ميديا نتورك بتطلع لكم الصفحه، فيكم تحضرونا صوت وصوره وتسالوا سؤالاتكم ونحن بنسالهم للمحامي حميد دكروب. معنا اتصال، تفضلوا. مين معنا؟
ريما.
اهلا وسهلا ريما، معك المحامي حميد دكروب.
Hi Rima.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. My question is concerning work-wise, like your 403 and whatever, like you have collected for work.
Correct.
Does that like give my kids problem? Because I have my kids as my
beneficiaries.
Yeah.
Okay,
so does that give them any problems? Does I need to do anything about it?
Yes and no. So on twofold. How old are your kids?
My youngest they range from 30 to 22.
Okay, so they're over 18, so that's good. So the one problem issue is done with regards to having a conservator be appointed through the court, so they don't have to worry about that. Issue number 2 becomes protection, right? So for them to, if God forbid something happens to you, Rima, they're going to inherit those, assets right away, right? Because it's a beneficiary designation, to get it right away. Then it becomes, what are they going through at the time that they inherit those assets? Are they going through something difficult? Are you worried that those assets might get lost to a spouse, for example, through a divorce,
I honestly don't have my spouse on there. It's just like my kid.
Not your spouse. I'm talking about their spouses, for example, right?
Okay.
Or their creditors, for example. And if you want extra protection, a trust would help. If you don't, and you just want to avoid probate court, then the way you have it now works.
So basically, like, my question was, like, work-wise, like, where the company that I work with, it shouldn't give them any problems, like, you know, where they need to go to court and you need to do this. It should be automatically, okay.
Yeah, exactly. If you have their names, then you should be good to go automatically. If you have the name of the trust as the beneficiary, which gives that protection I was telling you about, then it'll pay out to the trust if, God forbid, something happens to you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for calling and thank you for tuning in. أكيد كل واحد بحب يتواصل معنا وعنده سؤال بالنسبة للموضوع اللي نحن طرحينه في يتواصل معنا مباشرة على الاستوديو على 313-258-67 لا 31 بعطيكم رقمي يا جماعة على الاستوديو هو 313-769-6666 أو فيكم تتركوا كومنت على الفيسبوك. عم يجينا كومنت سؤالات على الفيسبوك أو انبوكس كمان اجانا انبوكس على الفيسبوك رح نسألك عنه يا حميد. في سؤال بتقول لك my husband and I did a will but not a trust. Do we need to make a trust?
Well, I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. I just advise, and it depends on your situation. I definitely feel like because here's the thing, if you own property jointly, then when one of you passes away, the other person gets it. It avoids court, so you don't have to worry about it. But what happens if something happens to both of you at the same time? Or what happens when something happens to the survivor, right? And then their assets have to go to court. So, for example, yes, I believe that we should sit down. Like I said, it's a free consultation, and let's discuss your situation, and I'll tell you the pros and cons of having a will versus a trust. Right now, if your assets are through a will, for example, God forbid something happens to one of you, if it's not jointly owned, the surviving spouse has to go to court to inherit. If something happens to both of you, even if your assets are jointly owned, your kids have to go to court to inherit. So if you want to avoid that whole court process and extra fees and extra headache and extra procedures, then a trust will definitely work better for you.
اوكي عندنا سؤال تاني من بلال بيقول لك حميد اذا واحد على التشايلد سبورت بميشيغان وسافر لولايه تانية هل يلاحق قانونيا؟ ما بعرف شو السؤال exactly يعني يلاحق.
So child support is a family law issue, kind of like the four wives in a divorce situation. So it's a little bit like a family law issue. I'm not. You definitely would still have to oblige by the court order. The court order will sit on top of any estate planning document. So for example, let's just say if you had a trust and you say, but then and you have like all these assets, but then a divorce says that, you know, you're only going to get like half of those assets. You can't put in your estate plan that you want, you know, all of your assets to go to this person because the court already divided it for you, even if you had a trust, because the court order will sit on top of an estate plan.
سؤال تاني من حسن كمان، يعني في سؤالات كتير مش عم بوصل للموضوع تبعنا بس بنحاول نخلص. حسن عم يسألك does a trust expire?
No, and neither does a will.
It doesn't expire.
No, they don't. The trust actually, as a matter of fact, the will doesn't expire, but the will after you pass away, it's done after you administer everything. A trust can actually go on for a lifetime. So go on for your kids' lifetime as well too to protect them. So it's way longer and more powerful than a will.
نقطة تانية اللي كنا عم نحاول نتحدث فيها بعد عنا شوية وقت بركي نوصل لشوية وبنكمل فيها بالحلقاتنا المقبلة مع حميد. الفلكسبيليتي تبع التراست شو بتعني أنت بالفلكسبيليتي تبع التراست؟
Great question. So first is a will. Your children or your family will inherit their assets after the probate court process. Probably takes around 8 months or so on average, maybe longer. Could be much longer than that as well too. In a few instances a little shorter than that depending on the situation. Versus a trust, if you want your children to get a degree before they inherit anything, that's the flexibility that you have that you can do with a will, for example. If you want to protect them long term, for example, keep the money in trust for their lifetime and give them whatever they need to support them, you can do that. If you want them to receive certain assets at certain ages and certain percentages, you can do that in a trust. If you want to protect their interests from their creditors, you can do that in a trust. If you wanted to avoid probate court, you can do that in a trust. So it's flexible from the fact that you as the person can have so many different scenarios in a trust that you can do that you can't do in a will. And in addition to everything, it's a revocable trust as well too. So which means that you can change it at any time. So if you did something today and then you know, maybe we're not on good terms with one of your beneficiaries in 2 years, you can change it.
Okay.
You know, you can change it. So and there's certain rules that apply to wills that don't apply to trusts.
أكيد.
So which is very beneficial as well too.
أكيد. نحن وصلنا تقريبا لنهاية الحلقة معك حميد. معلومات كتير مهمة. عندنا سؤال من سامي بتقول لك حميد rough estimate how much do you save if you do a trust on the long run?
At least a minimum of probably a couple $1,000.
والله.
Yeah. And it all depends on your assets. So you're saving attorney fees, right? And for a trust. Now you're paying higher attorney fees at the beginning, so you're saving attorney fees in the front, and then you're saving an inventory fee for the court, and then you're saving petition fees, so fees that you have to pay to the court. So if in fact you're just petition. So let's say or petition or application. How are you going to open up the estate? Are you going to get letters of authority, which you have to get? Are you going to file certain documents which require certain payments for those documents? Are you gonna publish and there's a lot of things that come with a will that you have to do in court as well.
معلومات كتير مهمة حميد مثل ما قلنا اليوم أعطيتها للجالية. بشكل عام حميد وحتى نختم موضوعنا اليوم شو الفرق بين الويل والتراست؟
Yes, so as we touched on this, essentially one avoids court and one does not.
هذا بشكل مبسط يعني.
Yes.
واحد بيخليك ما تروح على الكورت إذا سمح الله إذا توفى الشخص، واحد بتروح على الكورت.
Exactly, that's one of them. Another thing is one gives more flexibility. So there's way more advantages to having a trust than having a will.
تمام.
Then trust also gives more protection because when a person inherits after the court process in a will, they get the money right away.
So حتى نترجم دغري حتى
Yes, please.
التراست فيك تتحكم فيه أكتر، فيك تعمل له مثل أنت تخيطه على قياسك مثل ما بيقولوا، وكمان بيعطيك حماية أكتر لإلك كشخص ولعائلتك.
Yes, so upon your passing, if you still want it to continue and you want to protect your children, a trust can help, but a will not. Because once they inherit from a will, خلاص, they deposit the money in the account, it's theirs, it's subject to their creditors. But you can keep a trust for a longer period of time open, so that way, if they're going through something at a time, you can protect them.
Very good. طيب بدنا نذكركم برقم المحامي حميد دكروب، اختصاصي ومختص بالستيت بلاننج والبروبيت كورت. رقم المحامي حميد دكروب هو 313-401-4488 313-401-4488. وفيكم تلاقوا شو عنوان المكتب تبعكم حميد؟
It's 1 Park Lane Boulevard, Suite 729 East. So we're in the Twin Tower buildings off of Ford and Southfield. Around that area you can see it, or Hubbard and Southfield. We're in the East Tower, 7th floor.
اوكي تمام. كمان فيكم تتواصلوا معهم لدكروب جروب على السوشيال ميديا، على فيسبوك وعلى انستغرام، بس بتكتبوا دكروب جروب بيطلع لكم الصفحه تبعهم. فيكم تبعتوا لهم كمان سؤالكم على الفيسبوك او على انستغرام. هلا شفت حدا بعت سؤال على الفيسبوك كمان، المحامي حميد دكروب بيجاوبكم عليه. وكمان فيكم تبعتوا لنا نحن انبوكس او تتواصلوا معنا، وفينا نوصل سؤالاتكم لضيوفنا وللمختصين اللي عم بيجوا معنا على البرنامج. وعملنا هذا الموضوع اكثر من مره وعلى طول وصلنا لكم الجواب الصحيح. حميد انا بدي اتشكرك لانه كنت معنا اليوم. ما تنسوا انه حميد حيلا واحد بدق اليوم، حيلا واحد دق او حيلا واحد سمعنا على الراديو، بس mention it when you call Dakroub Group انه سمعتونا على الراديو، وبيطلع لكم فري consultation و$100 off حيلا سيرفيس موجوده عندهم بمكتب المحاماه تبعهم. رقم التليفون هو 313-401-4488. انا قبل ما انهي الحلقه بدي اتشكركم جميعا على متابعتكم لنا كل نهار 4 من واتساب ميديا نتورك. بدي اياكم على طول تتابعونا على السوشيال ميديا وعلى صفحاتنا على السوشيال ميديا. نحن موجودين على فيسبوك بس بتكتبوا واتساب ميديا نتورك. على انستغرام كمان نحن موجودين، بنطلع اخبار خاصه بديربون وبالعالم كاجمع وبالجاليه تبعنا. عم نطلع كتير تقارير اخباريه وبرامج حصريه بتطلع بس على واتساب ميديا نتورك. كمان الويب سايت تبعنا هو whatsappmedianetwork.com. حالا واحد بحب انه يتواصل معنا، عنده فكره، عنده موضوع بحب انه نطرحه، مشكله بنحب انه نعالجها، او عنده بزنس وبيحب يعمل له ادفرتايزمنت او سبونسر للبروجرام تبعنا، في يتواصل معنا على 313-258-6799 313-258-6799. هذا رقم واتساب ميديا نتورك. بنحب نذكركم انه حيلا واحد عنده اولاد بحب انه يحطهم بسمر بروجرام Educare Student Services سمر بروجرام ببلش بجولاي 1 بس هلا الريجستريشن مفتوحه، التسجيل هلا مفتوح. رقم التليفون عندهم هو 313-566-3733. فاتحين هن خلال فصل الصيف من الاثنين للجمعه من 9 الصبح ل5، وعندهم اكثر من برنامج لاولادكم من البري كي لل 12. كمان نحب نذكركم انه كونسلمان ديف عبد الله عنده الكيك اوف كامبين تبعه اليوم على 5:30 ببالاجيو بانكويت.
Yes, go support him.
Go support him.
Very great person for the community.
Awesome. وكمان بنحب نذكركم انه خضر الفرحات عنده برنامج جديد على واتساب ميديا نتورك ابتداء من النهار الثلاثاء الجاي، بيعرض اسمه هو Your Voice Does Matter، صوتك بيهمنا، بينعرض بس حصريا على واتساب ميديا نتورك كل نهار ثلاثة من 7 ل 8. وشكرا لمتابعتكم لنا، شكرا على طول لاستماعكم واصغائكم. حميد بتحب تقول شيء قبل ما اخلص انا؟
كونوا مرتاحين، امنوا حالكم، امنوا اولادكم.
اكيد
ريحوا
راسكم لانه اللي بتعملوه هلا it's gonna save you a lot on the long run.
Exactly. Whether it's with me or somebody else, just make sure you get it.
اكيد يعني it doesn't matter who you do it with.
Just do it.
اكيد اعملوها مع حميد. حميد ابن جاريتنا وشاب مؤدب ومحترم وابن عائله كريمه، وفيكم تثقوا فيه وعلى ضمانتنا مثل ما بنقول لكم. فاهمين كيف؟ حميد is a great person. It's a person you can trust and it's a person a good person you can go to. فرقم التليفون عند حميد هو 313-401-4488. انا بنهايه الحلقه بدي اتشكركم على متابعتكم لنا. بنلقاكم نحن كل نهار 4 من الساعة 3 للساعة 4 على 102.3 FM، وكمان على واتساب ميديا نتورك، على فيسبوك. عندنا برامج كتيرة ومختلفة. بكرة هبة رح تكون ببرنامجها انت وبس، رح تطرح موضوع مهضوم هيك اسمه عن الزراعة والبلانس وهيك شغلات. ونهار الخميس الجمعة بس بخضر كل نهار جمعة من الساعة 6:30 رح يكون معه زاك حيدر ومروان فرج، رح يتحدثوا عن الضرائب وخصوصا الضرائب على الممتلكات بديربون وبعض المشاكل اللي عم تعصف بالجالية. أنا بدي أتشكركم على متابعتكم لنا. فيكم على طول تتواصلوا معنا على 313-258-6799. شكرا لكالي من وراء الإخراج، وزينا كمان على الفيسبوك إخراج. إن نلتقيكم الجمعة الجاية. كان معكم حسين هاشم من وراء الميكروفون. إلى اللقاء.